Imagine you're cleaning out an old trunk in your grandfather's attic, or maybe exploring a dusty corner of a barn at an estate sale. You find a pair of incredibly old, stiff, and dirty blue jeans. They feel rough, almost like canvas, and they look like nothing more than worn-out work pants. Your immediate impulse might be to toss them in the donation pile, or just throw them away. But before you do, I want you to look closer. Look at the small, faded red tab on the back pocket. Look at the stitching on the seams. Look at the rivets. What if those weren't just old pants? What if they were a genuine artifact from the American West, a relic from the era of cowboys and gold miners? What if a few specific details on that single pair of jeans made them worth more than a brand new truck, or even a small house? Today on Treasure Hunters, we are digging into one of the most exciting and valuable collectible markets in the world, a place where the ultimate treasure might just be a pair of old blue jeans. And one brand stands above them all: Levi's. But these aren't just pants. They are looking for pieces from a time when denim was made on old-style shuttle looms, when every component was built for durability, not for fashion. For a dedicated and passionate group of collectors, particularly in the United States and Japan, a pair of vintage Levi's jeans is a historical document. How do you know if you have a common pair from the 80s or a rare treasure from the 50s? The secret is in the details. From 1936 until 1971, famous little red tab on the back right pocket of Levi's jeans had the brand name spelled in all capital letters, Levi's, 1971, to align with their new, more modern logo. They switched the tab to have a lowercase e, spelling it Levi's. Levi Strauss's original patent was for riveting men's work pants.
Ow.
On vintage jeans, you need to look for the hidden rivets. From 1937 until the mid-1960s, Levi's hid the rivets on the back pockets underneath the denim fabric. These are the jeans that collectors dream about, the pairs that fetch incredible prices at auction. Why? Because as cowboys sat around the campfire, the exposed metal rivets would get hot and scratch their saddles and furniture. These are not just old jeans. They are genuine historical artifacts, often discovered after being lost for over 100 years in abandoned mine shafts or deserted cabins in the American West. These early work pants are a window into a different world. They often have unique features you won't see on later jeans. It's like a single back pocket, a buckle back or cinch back adjuster on the rear waistband instead of belt loops, and buttons for suspenders. They are incredibly rare, and when they come up for auction, they cause a frenzy. This forced Levi's to make temporary changes to their iconic 501 jeans, creating a rare and fascinating variant. To save thread, the famous arcuate stitching on the back pockets was no longer stitched, it was painted on. To save metal, the rivets on the watch pocket and the crotch were removed. Levi's introduced the orange tab, line as a more fashionable and affordable alternative to their classic red tab workwear. A pair of vintage Lee or Wrangler jeans from the 1950s or 60s can also be very valuable to collectors who specialize in those brands. For a long time, collectors ignored orange tab items. Find the little colored tab on the back right pocket. Is it red? Is it orange? Now read the name. Is it spelled Levi's with a big E? Or Levi's with a little e? This single detail will tell you immediately if you should investigate further. If it's a big E, your heart should start beating a little faster. Look for that little red tab. Check the seams. You might just find one of the coolest and most valuable pieces of Americana there is. And tell us in the comments about the oldest piece of clothing you own. But now, vintage pieces from the 60s and 70s, especially those with cool retro styles like bell-bottoms or unique jackets, are becoming very collectible in their own right. The buttons were often plain, unbranded donut hole buttons. Is it a clean, tightly woven edge? Maybe with a line of red thread? That's your Selvedge ID. Or is it a messy pile of overlapping thread? Search online for guides on dating vintage Levi's, based on the details you've found. It's a story of the West, of hard work, of rebellion, and of timeless style. Each pair carries the fades, marks, and memories of the person who wore it, creating a unique and beautiful artifact. The best way to determine value is to search on eBay or Grailed for Levi's Big E Selvedge jeans and look at the sold listings. This will show you what people are actually paying for them right now. If you see the Selvedge seam, you've got another positive confirmation. Even the pocket bags were made from whatever scrap material was available, like flannel or army twill. Run your hand inside the top corners of the back pockets. Can you feel too hard? Metal bumps under the denim? If you can, you have found hidden rivets. This means your Big E jeans are from before the mid-1960s, making them significantly rarer and more valuable. These wartime S501XX jeans are incredibly sought after because they tell a powerful story about the American home front during the war. Finding a pair with the painted arcuates still visible is an incredible find. So, Levi's moved them inside. You can't see them from the outside, but you can feel them. There are many more common vintage pieces that are still highly valuable and much more likely to be found at a thrift store, flea market, or in a family closet. Just run your hand inside the top corner of a back pocket. These were the last years of the Big E tab, and they were produced in large numbers. This means there are still quite a few out there waiting to be discovered. They won't have hidden rivets, but they will have the Big E tab and Selvedge denim. Even a well-worn jacket or pair of jeans from this era can easily be worth several $100s, much more depending on the condition and size. If you feel two solid metal bumps under the cloth, you have found hidden rivets. This is a massive clue, dating your jeans to before the mid-60s and placing them in a much more valuable category. This one, tiny change is everything. If you find a pair of Levi's with the Big E tab, you have instantly confirmed that your jeans were made no later than 1971. You are holding a genuine vintage item, and it is valuable. A little E jean is considered modern, while a Big E jean is the entry ticket to the world of high-value collectibles. Collectors are like forensic detectives, and these are the clues they look for. Before the 1980s, all Levi's were made from a high-quality denim woven on old-fashioned shuttle looms. This process created a tightly woven, durable edge that wouldn't unravel, called a selvedge or selvedge. To see it, all you have to do is turn up the cuff of the jean leg. If you see a clean, finished outer seam, usually with a red or pink line of thread running down it, you are looking at selvedge denim. If the seam is messy, with a lot of loose threads, it's a modern, non-selvedge jean. All Big E Levi's are selvedge. Finding that clean line is your second major confirmation of a vintage, valuable pair. It's a piece of textile archaeology, where every stitch, every rivet, and every fade tells a story about American history, work, and culture. Welcome back to Treasure Hunters. For over 150 years, one piece of clothing has defined America more than any other: the blue jean. The hunt for vintage denim is a serious business. Collectors are searching for specific, rare details that separate common jeans from priceless artifacts. Today, we are going to give you the secret map. We'll show you the exact details to look for, the tells that can identify a pair of jeans as a rare and valuable treasure. We'll explore the holy grail models that collectors dream of finding, and we'll give you a step-by-step guide on what to do if you find that once-in-a-lifetime pair. So get ready to look at your closet and every thrift store in a completely new way. So you found an old pair of Levi's. First, and this is the absolute golden ticket, the most important detail of all, is the Big E red tab. Second is selvedge denim, which is the telltale stripe that proves the jeans are old. Third, you need to check the rivets, which are the small copper buttons that reinforce the pockets. Fourth are the other small details that add up. Look at the waistband patch. Very early jeans had a leather patch. In the mid-1950s, this was switched to a thick, paper-like material called a jacqueline patch. Also look at the iconic arcuate stitching on the back pockets. On older jeans, this was stitched with a single needle, creating a more imperfect, beautiful look. You can also look at the top button. On the back of this button, there's often a small number or letter stamped into it. This is the factory code, and specific numbers can help date the jeans even more precisely. Details like a V-stitch next to the top button are also signs of older manufacturing processes. Putting these clues together, the Big E, the selvedge seam, the hidden rivets, allows a collector to precisely date a pair of jeans and determine its rarity and value. Now that you know the clues, let's talk about the legends. Grail number 1, the minor jeans. This is the absolute pinnacle of denim collecting. Grail number 2, the 1950s Levi's 501XX. This is the quintessential blue jean, the uniform of rebellion and cool in post-war America. This is the jean worn by icons like Marlon Brando in The Wild One and James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause. For many collectors, the 501 model from this era represents the absolute peak of denim design. It has all the key features: a big E red tab, hidden rivets, leather waistband patch, and beautiful dark selvage denim. Finding a pair of 1950s 501XX jeans, especially in an unworn deadstock condition with its original tag still attached, is a collector's dream. A clean pair can easily be worth a five-figure sum. Grail number 3. The World War II era S501XX. During World War II, the U.S. government required all manufacturers to conserve raw materials for the war effort. Okay, the chances of finding 100-year-old minor jeans are slim, but don't worry. The most common treasure you can find is a late 1960s to 1971 Big E jean or trucker jacket. Also, keep an eye out for orange tab Levi's. While Levi's is king, don't ignore other classic American brands. You're at a thrift store. See a pair of old-looking jeans. What do? Here's your quick step-by-step guide. Step 1. Go straight to the back pocket. This is your first and most important action. Step 2. Turn up the cuff. Flip up the bottom of the leg. What does the outer seam look like? Step 3. Feel for the rivets. If you have a Big E jean, this is the next step to date it. Step 4. Research and value. Now it's time to use your phone. A pair of vintage blue jeans is so much more than just old clothing. It's a wearable piece of American history. So the next time you're cleaning out a closet, exploring an estate sale, or walking through a flea market, pay attention to the denim. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of vintage denim, please hit that like button, subscribe to Treasure Hunters,